This is the Front Stretch on AM 590, brought to you by Joe's Karting, online at joeskarting.com.
Well, this is Turn 2. It's fully stocked by the Party Pantry Council Bluffs, located just off the beaten path on 35th and 5th Avenue. It's time to find a gas station that won't break the bank with great prices on food, fuel, beer, and so much more. The Party Pantry is where you need to go to save a little green. Guys, I got to say, we've been talking about it for the last couple of weeks. It's kind of nice to see gas prices kind of starting to dip down a little bit, but let's not talk too loud. We don't want to scare the gas price juju people. But as I did always see driving by the Party Pantry on my way here, gas is just a little bit cheaper than everyone else. So just, penny, maybe 2 pennies. Not a big savings, but it will add up over the year if you just keep going to Party Pantry and get yourself some fuel. I know it helps you guys, buddy, when you go there and fill up. You usually drop a couple $100 a week between your truck and your car. That does help out quite a bit. Eventually.
You have no idea.
Well, it's time for the Fast Five, and we're going to start off with probably the bigger story that we didn't get a chance to talk about last week, so we're going to cover it this week. James Finch, owner of Phoenix Racing, talked about on Wind Tunnel with Dave Despain that there is a possibility that 51 car may not be able to run a full season due to lack of sponsorship availability. For the most part, you've seen Phoenix Racing tattooed all over that car. And the last 2 weeks, they have removed Phoenix Racing, and it's just been a red and white car and the secondary sponsorship since there is no primary. They wanted to point out the fact that 51 just simply needed sponsorship. James Finch pays for this organization and pays for this racing out of his own pocket. And from what I've understood, he's a bit of a tightwad. So he's really trying to find sponsorship for this to make it a little bit more cost effective for everybody. Where this comes into effect for us here on the Front Stretch is that, Bud, you and I have a bit of a bet going this year. As we do, you're not getting out of it.
We do?
We talked about at the beginning of the season, Bud swore up and down Kurt Busch in that 51 car was going to make the chase, was going to be dominant, and was going to finish in the top 10. I actually haven't checked where he's been recently, but he's outside of the top 25, but the bet is that if he doesn't, then you, Bud, have to wear a pink tutu. If he does finish in the top 10, I have to wear a pink tutu, and we're going to do some laps over at Joe's Karting at the end of the season. Andrew, what I want to ask you, you're the neutral third party in this. If Kurt Busch in the 51 car misses 1 or 2 races, is the bet off, or do we continue with the bet? And I want to give out one argument that Mr. Mark Martin, who has missed 2 or 3 races this year already because he's not running a full schedule, is sitting in 19th place and finished 8th last night. So it can be done.
Well, I think somebody will help Kurt Busch out anyway so he can get a full schedule in, but you can't just cut it out. You never know what could happen in the middle of a season. You could blow an engine up, Bud, and you couldn't race your car anymore, but you still had high hopes you were going to win the championship. Just like right now, you're going to be in a pink tutu in one of them tubs driving around Joe's Karting.
I can't wait.
If I do. All I can tell you is pink tutu sales are going to greatly increase when I bring back sexy to the pink tutu.
Oh, my gosh. We're talking sponsorship issues with Phoenix Racing, trying to get some sponsorships in there. Roush Fenway starting to make some progress for their sponsorship dollars. This absolutely kills me that Matt Kenseth still has a few races that he has not sponsored in, and he is a top 5 driver. He's the defending Daytona 500 winner. He is a top 5 driver. I believe he's sitting 4th in the points right now. He's sitting 4th in the points right now. So he very well should be getting all these sponsorship dollars, but he's not. But good news that they are making some headway. Zest Soap has announced that they're going to be sponsoring that number 17 car on May 12th for the Darlington race. And there is some light at the end of the tunnel that the 6 car may get back on the track for a good portion of this season, and they're hoping to lock up sponsorship dollars in the next coming weeks. We heard last year UPS ended their commitment with Roush Fenway in the number 6 car, thus David Reagan lost his ride. The 6 car was parked, although it did run during the Daytona 500. They were unable to get sponsorship dollars for the rest of the season, so hopefully we get that turned around. We can see that 6 car back on the track.
Oh, it'd be nice to see that legendary 6, and then back on the track. But then the Matt Kenseth and that number 17 team, that's kind of interesting with Zest Soap. I mean, can you see what the sponsorship ads are going to say? The competition's washed up when the 17 hits the track.
Listen to him. He's coming up with sponsorship slogans for him. This is Turn 2, fully stocked by the Party Pantry at Council Bluffs, just off the beaten path, 35th and 5th Avenue, right there in Council Bluffs. Some great prices on food, fuel, a large selection of booze in their hooch room. Get to the Party Pantry at 35th and 5th Avenue and save yourself a couple of dollars. Last night and Friday night was a great night for Kyle Busch. As an owner and as a driver, Friday night he gets his first win for Kyle Busch Motorsports. He doesn't get it, but his organization gets their first win in that 54 car. And thanks to brother Kurt Busch, as he was able to bring home the victory for that. And that was an amazing race between him and Denny Hamlin those last 10 laps. I tell you what, they were duking it out, and it was great to see Kurt Busch be respectful and not wreck somebody. He's had an issue with that when it comes down to the fact of, I want this more than you do, so I'm going to wreck you to win it. Him and Denny Hamlin, they raced clean. They bumped. They rubbed. There was quite a few paint and some tire marks exchanged between the two cars, but they had a great finish, and it really made for exciting racing. And great for Kyle Busch Motorsports to their inaugural season. They're able to get a victory under their belt.
It was nice to see that W come. But with it being nationwide, Nationwide's got some good drivers and it's got some good races, but it was kind of nice to see both Busch brothers work together and come home with the W, so I was pretty proud of that.
Definitely, and it was really funny to see Kyle on the pit box.
I don't know what he was more happier, when he won the race on last night, or when Kurt won it on Friday night. Cause I thought did he start crying? Maybe?
I thought he started crying.
I think
on
he
Friday
started
night.
crying.
I think he
I
did.
didn't see that.
He started tearing up a little bit, and he cut the interview a little bit short, but I think he started to get a little choked up. But that's something that, it's a completely different form of satisfaction that when your car wins, because you had nothing to do with it. That was the hardest thing for him, was that he had no control over how that car was running on the track. He just had to sit there and watch. And he was able to bring all the hard work he's done, the sponsorships, the putting the team together. I would say it's probably more work it's easily more work to be an owner, because you've got to deal with all the big picture stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And it's probably a little bit more satisfying when you win. Would you guys agree?
I would agree with that.
I would say so.
For the Fast Five, number 4, you and I argued about this. As always, we like to argue about one or two things a week, at least one or two things a week.
Least.
Jimmy Johnson named most influential athlete by Forbes magazine. He beats out a couple of NFL quarterbacks, beats out some baseball players. I, for one, am excited that a NASCAR driver is ranked number 1 for the most influential athlete by Forbes magazine. Bud, just go ahead.
I love the idea that we have a race car driver. I don't care if it's Indy, NASCAR, USMTS, Andrew Kaczynski wannabes. I don't care. I love the fact that we have a dirt driver, or not a dirt driver, but a race car driver that's named the most influential. I just don't know if Jimmy Johnson is the best fit for that role. When you've got guys like Mark Martin, Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, look at what Tony Stewart has done compared to Jimmy Johnson, and I do not want to hear, well, Jimmy Johnson's got the 5 national championships. I don't care. You got Tony Stewart that's come from IRL, NASCAR, World of Outlaws, the dirt scene. Johnson doesn't have quite the racing resume that Stewart's got, in my opinion. Now, he was an accomplished motorcycle racer, but still, I think you could have picked a lot better people to be the most influential. And the one thing against Jimmy Johnson is, look at how many times their team has been in trouble from NASCAR for cheating or pushing the gray areas, and that's a totally different subject, but I just think we could have had somebody better.
Well, I see your point, that there are drivers out there that push more dollars in NASCAR than Jimmy Johnson does. Obviously, the most talked about, sought after, autographed, wanted, most requested person is Dale Earnhardt Jr.
When I'm thinking, when I hear most influential, I'm thinking, okay, I'm a NASCAR executive. I'm Bill France, senior, junior, whoever, and I want some insight. I want a driver's insight. I want a driver to tell me what I need to do. A lot of the promoters, Joe, Andrew's dad, is great at this. He'll call me, Bud, what do you think about this, or what do you think about that? So if you're a NASCAR, you're a sponsor, you're a NASCAR executive, you're somebody, a team owner, and you want some influential advice or comments?
Well, this doesn't have to do with track stuff, racing, anything like that. This has to do with being influential in the rest of the world. And it comes down to the simple fact that he won 5 championships. It just comes out of that simple fact. And he won them in a row. I mean, that's all there is to it. His name has been tattooed all over NASCAR for the last 7 years because he's won 5 championships in a row. The year that he didn't win it, it was a really close battle. He could very well have won it. He's been a great ambassador for the sport. He's very clean. He's cut. He's easy with the sponsors.
So he has 5 NASCAR championships. To me, that just seems like a popularity contest where everybody just jumped on the Jimmy Johnson bandwagon and goes, oh, 5 championships, you're influential.
Well, and keep in mind, this isn't NASCAR people that are making this list. This is Forbes. These are business people. They look at dollars. And as far as they're concerned, Jimmy Johnson winning 5 championships in a row, he's pushing the most dollars. Right, wrong, or indifferent, when Forbes magazine says something, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. On to the 5th and the final Fast Five. NASCAR is being sued right now, and it's not by Jeremy Mayfield. It's by a minority driver, and I apologize, I've lost his name, but essentially the story is that they're being sued because they have a diversity program established to help get more minorities into the sport. A few years ago, this driver was trying to get into this program, and he was eventually denied because he looked too Caucasian. That's what he is suing for, is that he looked too white. NASCAR has pretty much just came out and said, yep, that's exactly why you didn't make it into the sport, into the program. We do apologize, but you look too white. We need somebody who looks more minority. And so there's a current case in the First District Court to see if NASCAR was wrong or right. Guys, we've got about 30 seconds. Give me your guys' quick opinions. Is NASCAR right or wrong here?
They're fine about it. I mean, they want to try to get the Latinos. They want to try to get the African Americans to the racetrack. Somebody that looks like Jimmy Johnson out there. What's the point of having him there? This is minority we're trying to get here. I don't feel bad. If he was good enough, they'd have left him in there, but he must not have been good enough. He just wanted to have his name in there, I think.
I just wonder if I would think it.
Before you start talking, just please do not get us in trouble. Okay, go ahead.
I just want to know if they got a diversity program for guys like Ricky Buddy.
No, they'll kick you straight out of there.
The redneck program.
This has been Turn 2, fully stocked by the Party Patriot. Make sure you stick around for Turn 3. We're going to talk with Roger Hayden, race promoter for Eagle Raceway, about the upcoming season, some of the changes they made in the off-season. We got a great conversation with him, and he's looking a heck of a lot more spry than Buddy is, so hopefully he'll be a lot more chipper. This is The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
Summer is just around the corner, and that means your cooling system is going to be put to the test. Getting your car in for a radiator flush and air conditioner coolant recharge will save you a headache when we start seeing triple-digit temperatures. Kevin and the crew at Auto Connection will also service your car, which can increase your MPG and help you save at the gas pump. Located at 21st and P in Lincoln, online at autorepairlincolnne.com. Call 402-477-8200 to schedule an appointment today.
Hi, I'm Buddy Ray, driver of the number 25 Party Pantry Modified. When I'm headed to the track or my family needs a fill-up, we all head down to the Party Pantry, locally owned and operated just off the beaten path in Council Bluffs on 35th and 5th Avenue. Party Pantry has some of the area's best prices on food, snacks, beer, and gas, and has a great liquor selection. So stop by and see the whole crew at 35th and 5th Avenue in Council Bluffs, just off the beaten path, where you're treated like family with a name, and you're not just a stranger.
Are you ready for fast-paced, adrenaline-pumping, wheel-to-wheel racing right here in the Metro? Get to Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs and see what it's like to race real go-karts. Joe's Karting knows it's no fun to race go-karts at 10 miles per hour, so they ripped the governors out, and now the only restriction is how good you are at racing. It's full-throttle, white-knuckle racing every day of the week. Head over to joeskarting.com for hours, prices, and specials, or give Buddy a call today and set up your group races at 712-256-5278.